what is quantum flow when it comes to magnetizing and expanding your reality, and what are 3 fundamental tools that we can teach you in this training. And so Solara is such a gifted energy expert and psychic advisor, and I have extensive training with DNA activations, and our energies combined is just fusing this beautiful 1,000-petal lotus flower of information and vibrancy, and we want to bring this into the space. And so we need you to show up and be here and be present and really commit to being in this space for the next 90 minutes so that you can receive what guided you to join us. Part of this training is we are also going to be sharing a little bit about our really powerful 3-month mastermind container that we have coming up in February. And we're also going to be leading you through a DNA activation to anchor in, ground in everything that you've been learning in this training. And we do encourage you, those of you on the live chat, to ask questions as well. We will be leaving some time at the end for questions and answers. And even if you're on the replay to this, thank you for registering, and thank you for committing to join and listening to this within the time frame that we'd set. And the reason why I set 48 hours is because sometimes when we sign up to something, life gets in the way, life happens, and it's another thing that we have to do. And my intention and Solara's intention with everything that we share is not another thing you have to do. It's an invitation of transformation. And sometimes the mind wants to put that off because the mind doesn't want to shift. The mind likes familiarity. The mind likes what it knows to be true because it's safe there. And our journey is to break through any and all limitations that is holding us back as a unified field of consciousness, as a sovereign being, and also as a collective frequency. And so I'm going to say this again. Any of you listening to this right now, if you are trying to do something else, stop. Come into the space and receive the transmission of energy that will start to flow through us now that we have opened this space. So sorry, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, that's perfect. I really appreciate it. I'm just feeling the expanse of the quantum field, beyond the speed of light, where we really start to enter into these open, expansionary fields of omnipresence, boundlessness, and it has this glorious, majestic, peaceful, timeless essence and aura to it. And as we inhabit this space, and we carry this expansive field with us into the doing, into the living, into the thriving, what becomes accessible to us is it's profound, really. What it's quantitative is what it is. It's these quantitative, high quality manifestations that begin to crystallize, to light our path, to grace our path as a natural extension of our beingness, of being harmonized in that expanded space of our divinity, of our unification with the wider self. And there was another piece that wanted to come through in there also. It's just, what we're stepping into, releasing, fixed frames and fixed mindsets that keep us in limited constructs, and really allowing ourselves to continue saying yes to ourselves. And this is really where the magic of life happens. So one of the ways that I have seen this in my life, it's like with every step that we take, the pathway unfolds before us. The flowers begin to illuminate and bloom and light the path. And we start to see our next step. But we don't always know exactly what that is. It's just a matter of saying yes to ourselves and trusting our soul and trusting our heart's desire and trusting that which is deeply in resonance and true for us, and knowing that with that yes from our core of divinity, from our heart, all that is desired and required will and must show up for us. And so it's a whole new way of being and moving through life. And it really is, it's freedom, and it's living in absolute, we'll call it active surrender and trust and faith, and ultimately a deep knowing that you are going to be there to support yourself every step of the way. Because that's, you know, your relationship with the expanded parts of your own beingness. So knowing that you are going to support you and supply you and provide you and love you, and really beginning to open into expanded self-trust, expanded self-love, including all facets and dimensions of the self. You know, and in that, we're absolutely liberated, because now we're just simply living in the body of God, of source, of love, and everything's safe there. Everything is abundant and thriving. Yeah, there's so much.
I love that. And what's interesting is when you're sharing that about trust, I can feel so many have resistance to that. And it's like, I always bring it back to Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade, where he was on the search for the Holy Grail. And, you know, he'd found his way to the temple, and he'd gone through the obstacle course and the maze of, like, you know, all of these crazy challenges. And then he came to the edge of this rock, this cliff face, and he could see the door on the other end, but there was no bridge, there was no path, there was no rope, there was no ladder, there was no clue, there was no way that he could get to the other side. Yeah. And then he tuned in and remembered what his dad had told him, which was, you know, his dad was an adventurer. And he's like, sometimes you've got to take that leap of faith. And to open up what needs to happen. And so he risked his life in honor of him trusting that he didn't know how it was going to work out, but he just knew he had to take that step. And he took that step. And guess what? There was a path that was an optical illusion that appeared before him, that it looked like the cliff face, but it was actually the path. And then he's throwing some stones, and there's this whole path. And he just needed to take that step. And he was held. And that's people's biggest block. It's taking that step. And it's like, what's the worst that can happen? Well, you know, you fall down. And that's okay. What's the best that could happen? And there's not enough emphasis on that. What is the most expanded potential that could happen as I leap into the unknown? Yeah. We're more fearful of that than we are just taking that tiny little step. And, you know, I'm sure you have boundless stories of this. And if you do, like, please share. Two that I have was when I literally had 301 pounds in my bank account. And I was told that I had to go to Central America. This was about 7 years ago. And the one-way ticket to Mexico was 300 pounds. And so I bought it with £1 left in my account. And it was a massive leap of faith. But my intention was, what's the best that could happen? And it was for 3 weeks' time. And by the time I sat on that plane, I had £4,000 sitting accessible in my bank account, ready for that trip. And we have become so contracted that we forget that we're able to direct and flow energy on a daily basis, that this is the universe, right? We're creating a collective, but this is a universe based on vibration, on sound, on intention, and also on trust and faith. And, you know, that was probably one of the most scariest but exhilarating things that I have ever done, because it set me free from limitation, from lack, from, oh, I better not do this because, you know, you need to do this first. And that's when we start collapsing time.
Yes. You know, and a helpful frame in that too. And that's stunning. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for trusting yourself. Thank you for liberating your soul. That's a big step. And I certainly have several stories I can relate, you know, simply just giving it all up and taking bold leaps. but you know, it's what is the truth as who we be as our divine infinite source self? We already have all that we require. We are beyond abundantly equipped. And so it's anchoring into the havingness that really starts to create, it's what lands it in our physical reality. So oftentimes, you know, we place our desires or money in specific, it's something we have to get. It's something we're reaching for that we don't have. So we create a separation between ourselves and that thing that we're desiring. But when we act from a space of havingness, everything starts to unfold itself along the way. And it's just about knowing that as we take those steps. And in living fully, I mean, if we look at the cosmic design, it's an ever unfolding, blossoming flower of life. That's our natural state, is to continuously emerge. So when we hold ourselves back and we create these self-imposed limitations, we stay in the same cycles for, you know, it can go any period of time until we're ready to let that go and become brave and audacious and fearless, in trust, in love, and to take those steps and to really come alive and live our lives fully, knowing that universal intelligence, our own expanded being, is going to show up for us, and dancing into life, dancing forward, having fun on this journey, and not holding ourselves back from the experiences that are available to us.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, it's almost like I feel sometimes the mind wants to skip ahead of all the steps, and the steps is the most wonderful part of our experience because it's the journey, and that's what the human wants to express within itself. But also not judging, you know, the time frame of that. Like I read this once, so I can't take credit for like this quote, but people overestimate what they can get done in a year, and they underestimate what they can get done in 10 years. And, you know, when I think about my path 10 years ago, everything that I'd expected would have just magically like shifted into place within that year. Actually, like now I've had the journey of the last 10 years, I understand how certain pieces had to play out first, and certain things had to be discovered first. And through that series of energetic initiations, I like to call them, because as we're always shifting into higher and higher states of consciousness, we're shifting into higher and higher versions of ourselves, and we're fine-tuning that frequency, that wave of connection to the infinite expression of source that runs through us, and it allows for the rapid acceleration of our reality. But we had to build the foundations first. You know, we had to do the inner work. We had to clear out all the drawers that we just didn't want to deal with, right? With the drawers on the cabinet, that's half of it we didn't need. And then we found out that actually once we cleared that out, we didn't really need the cabinet. So we get rid of the cabinet, and then, oh my gosh, we can put a plant there. Or maybe it was like blocking a window or something, like, oh great, we can have the window light coming in now. So
yeah, and that's a fundamental piece. So if we're looking at the overarching, you know, bigger perspective in all of this, we are living light intelligence, we are living divinity, and we have either allowed the fullness of that light to fill us and emerge from within us, or we have contracted. And so those are places and spaces where we've shut down to love, we've shut down to the light that we are. And that's, you know, we call it our shadow or illusions. You know, that's where the subconscious distortions can arise, and separation, you know, and instead of remembering that we are one unified light intelligence. So along this path, you know, and that's what those micro steps are about. Every step is an opportunity to open and unfurl into even greater love. And the first component of that is to relax, sort of chill out and let love in. To let love all the way in, and to know that everything in our reality, all the beautiful characters in our play, all the people, all the situations, all the circumstances that the mind might be perceiving to be one thing, are actually pure source energy, or it's pure divinity. And if we can start to receive all that is in that way, then we know that we're safe, and we start to open and expand the DNA, and more of that light intelligence starts to emerge, and it releases that the light information, our DNA releases higher consciousness into our conscious mind. And so part of the glory and the beauty and magnificence of the journey itself is that each time we take those steps, we have a revelation of self. We have an epiphany of self. And those nuggets, those pearls of wisdom are so much more satiating than, getting the thing that we think that we want that's going to help us to feel the way that we feel when we remember who we are. Because that's really what we're looking for, is to know who we are and how powerful we are as the sole creator of our reality, of our universe. And our being wants that. And so had we got the thing immediately, right, without creating those rich foundations, what that may have caused from a space of, I don't know if I want to use the word ego, because our ego is what allows us to be individuated expressions of source energy. But the parts of us that are in lack, we'll call it, because that's really what it is. The parts of us that feel like we don't have something that we need to feel whole. And when we're choosing from that space, what can actually unfurl for us in our experience can really be to our own detriment. And so there's moments when it's like, okay, actually, before the really big, massive manifestations crystallize in our reality, let's spend some time anchoring into the rich, solid, integral foundation of divine love, pure divine love, of knowing that, of integrating that in our somatic, visceral body, and then also then moving through life with that frequency, so that when those things come, now it's coming from a space of wholeness, of purity, of, I really just simply desire to have a new experience. And we grow in character, we grow in love, we grow in all-inclusive self-love, and we have a greater sense of appreciation and the wisdom to care for, to truly care for what we have been, what we have created for ourselves, and how to really be care in action. What does it look like to be love in action? And sometimes that's the more integral, important piece in all of it. And as we establish those rich foundations within our own being, a lot more of what we desire starts to show up in our reality. And actually, that was one of the things that we wanted to talk about, was affluence, financial affluence and prosperity in the new earth, and what that actually looks like, and how we crystallize that in our experience, because it's something that comes to us naturally and organically as we live in accord with love's will. And that is where that's where all the money and that's where all the prosperity is flowing. So our primary focalization, and this is also the embodiment of the true, of the Holy Grail, of the Golden Grail, is that we resonate source. We embody our God self, and we really land the richness of that frequency, of those perspectives, of those outlooks, of those ways that we engage with life in our physical body, and we become fully illumined vessels of love. Everything comes from that space. Everything is birthed and born and crystallized from that space. So there's no more reaching outside of ourselves to get that. It's about knowing ourselves and landing in the truth of who we are as divine beings, and as a natural byproduct of that, all that we desire comes into being.
So anyone, if you have any questions coming through and what we're sharing, and I'd really love us to go through a couple of these techniques that we had written down, and it's up to you, Solara, if you want to go through one of the EFT techniques to really learn how to kind of create that kind of destiny timeline. or if you would like me to do a DNA activation first, like whatever feels more in flow for you.
Let's go ahead and do the DNA activation first.
That's what I was feeling.
Open people to receive what the EFT's power is.
Okay, beautiful. And we had a message from Kate Lee that said it's, she was just remarking on time and saying that there was no exercises, but not what she expected. And I'm just reminding everyone, like, we are here for 90 minutes. We have time and we're flowing with what is coming through. And so Kate, if you're still there and you're still with us, then great. You're going to get to enjoy some of this beautiful magic and teaching. So if any of you have any questions coming through, feel free to use the chat. And if not, we are going to go ahead and I'm going to lead us through a DNA activation practice that I really encourage all of us to do this on a daily basis. It's what I teach my clients in some of my online containers. It's really, really easy and it's super potent and powerful. I'm going to go into a little bit more in depth because we're doing a live activation, but you can definitely take some of the key principles and use this in your life. And what this does is when we are navigating through our holographic reality, most of the time we are coming from a contracted state of mind and contracted state of heart and contracted state of body. And so in order to be more fluid in our holographic experience, we want to be opening ourselves up and expanding, multiple times a day. And I always would recommend, this over doing a really long practice in the morning, but then feeling really ungrounded and disconnected for the rest of the day. So the key principles of this technique is you can do this multiple times a day and it'll take like 20 seconds and it shifts you back into alignment again. So if everyone's ready, just allowing the palms of your hands to face downwards, soles of the feet on the floor, crown up towards the sky, and just tipping your pelvis ever so slightly up so you feel a length in the base of your spine. And just take some breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And if you haven't done so already, gently closing your eyes and focusing on the spot between your eyebrows. So you're putting energy into your pineal gland, into your third eye. And breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And the exhalation is always an opportunity and invitation to release, to surrender, to relax, to let go, and to soften into the body and into the process. If you want, just releasing any sighs and whatever wants to come through. After you've done a few of those, slowing your breath down and breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. And again, focusing on the spot between your eyebrows. And if your mind starts to wander, just bringing your awareness back into your breath. So I'm just going to lead us through this technique that you can do multiple times a day, and then I'm going to bring us through into a DNA activation. So with your eyes closed, focusing on your third eye, breathing in and out through your nose. See, sense, feel, imagine, make it up, use your childlike playfulness to imagine a beautiful column of gold liquid plasma energy from the central sun down through the cosmos, down through the atmosphere into the sky, and all the way down into the crown of your head. So just feeling a connection to source, this beautiful golden energy. Just imagine gold, think gold, feel gold, imagine gold, see gold in your third eye. And just imagining this beautiful liquid plasma energy opening, activating, and clearing and cleansing and purifying your crown. And then inviting this gold, beautiful energy down into your third eye, activating, clearing, cleansing, purifying your third eye. Bringing this energy down into your heart, into your throat, acting, cleansing, clarifying, and purifying your throat. And bringing this golden energy down into your heart, activating, cleansing, clearing, purifying your heart. So just imagine this golden energy, just cleansing out and clearing any stagnation, any energy, and just getting the energy centers moving and rotating in a clockwise. Bringing this energy down into your solar plexus. Again, just imagining it opening up, activating, cleansing, clearing, purifying, bringing this down into your sacral, Bringing this down into your root. So almost feel this kind of like slow dripping of energy moving through your body. And just imagine this golden energy just spilling out into every single cell, tissue, and organ of your body, crystallizing your cells to the unified field of one source consciousness, emotional and universal intelligence. And just slowly dripping this beautiful golden liquid plasma energy down through your legs, down into your feet. And just dripping all the way down into the earth. So almost feeling like it pulling you down ever so slightly, grounding you. And all the way down, 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 down into the crystalline core of Gaia. So see, sense, feel, imagine, make it up a beautiful clear quartz crystal in the center of the earth. And imagine this liquid gold plasma energy just lassoing around this crystal. And then just bringing this energy back up, but then bringing with it Gaia energy, nourishment, nurturing that feminine stillness, restoration, receptivity, yin, bringing this energy all the way up through the soles of your feet, up through your legs, your root, sacral, solar plexus, and heart. And breathe, using your breath as your guiding and activating, cleansing tool to direct energy. So just imagine this continuation, this flow of energy, gold, liquid plasma, light. And then just spilling this energy out from the front and back of your heart and into your auric fields. Almost imagine you're blowing your aura up with gold plasma energy that's expanding your aura, almost like you're a balloon in the middle. And opening out, expanding your aura all the way around you, opening your heart, expanding all the way around you, taking up space. I'm safe to take up space. I'm safe to be seen. I'm safe to expand. I'm safe to be the infinite expression of the I am, of all that is, was, and ever will be. So just imagine you opening up in your imagination. Imagine you're as big as the earth. Imagine you're as big as the cosmos. Imagine you're as big as the dimension. Imagine you are as expanded to infinity and beyond. Opening up, expand, expand, expand. And then imagine this energy lassoing back into your heart. So it's almost like a concentration of this beautiful source, plasma, liquid gold energy, of all the oneness, of all of you. And just sitting and swirling in this beautiful expansion of you, expansion of energies. We call in the four directions of the north, the east, the south, and the west. We call in the ancestors and the elders, the heart, the higher self, all of the councils of light, all of the versions of you, me, us, them, all of us in the higher dimensional realms that are here with the exact tools, know-how to help us shift to the highest timeline, the unified field of consciousness, of community, unity. As we invite the blessings of all of these different frequencies and light into the space, recognizing your breath as your guiding and activating tool, recognizing if your temptation is to start contracting down again, staying open, staying expanded in your truth. I'm safe to be seen. I'm expanded in who I truly am. And so from this expanded state of consciousness, any and all outdated cellular soul karmic contracts to collapse, fold, and into themselves and dissolve into the light now. Any and all thought, beliefs, patterns, behavioral sequences that are operating in the lower subatomic realities that are not helping us as a unity of collective consciousness to move forward, to collapse and fold into itself now. Dissolve, 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 dissolve. Any and all stagnated beliefs and thoughts, traumas, patterns from childhood to collapse, clear, fold into itself now. Dissolve, 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 dissolve. And any other intentions that you're ready to let go of in your own personal journey, say this in your mind now, and I'm ready to dissolve, 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 dissolve. And breathe, remembering your guiding and activating tool as we bring through any and all of the highest diamond ray plasma frequencies of the DNA activation. And just in your mind's eye, continue to feel expanded, continue to feel gold light. Gold is one of the highest frequencies to cleanse, clear, purify, and open up to the truth of who you are. Allowing the floodgates to open of the connection to your higher self and all of the exact downloads and steps needed to take through synchronistic events each day, the exact downloads of the knowing of you, of all of why you were drawn to come here today in this container, staying expanded in your truth. I'm safe to be seen. I'm safe to expand. And breathe, remembering your guiding and activating tools to bring through these frequencies of light. o tarema o amarena o tarenike takia mo o ania mo o derende kite soya kuduya poduya ya buria matotu yamana tiki yamana tia moso andarin kina moso yanandeke masa isandarin como yamo sandarin nikira moto yamatori yamatoya so Sandra Yamato ya mo Sophia Mariama shoo shoo Yamadoria so tani Madoria Mako but it gonna work come on Andarin Yamamoria Mananaria Marumbaran Baringamba soon Barandigi Moto Yamodoringaba Yundarin Marandi or could work more work you work you do what you do and allowing yourself to plant a seed of desire from the quantum realms of reality into your holographic grid system now. And as you receive the sound of light, the sound of frequency, the sound of intention, imagine this growing into your energetic field for the shortest amount of time possible. For there is no time as you step into all of your beliefs and desires from your expanded perspective. So set this intention now and let it lovingly grow as you continue to grow your intentions in connection to the truth of the potential of this reality, and grounding into Gaia and allowing this through the ancestors and elders to embody this through your root and your sacral. You Marema Swap York to keep a sword, Take a deep breath in and hold. 3, 2, 1, and breathe out through your mouth. Just paying attention to your root, allowing this energy to ground into your root, bringing in all of the frequencies, all of the light, all of the steps, all of the know-how for your journey, the most expanded expression of you. Take a deep breath in and hold and breathe out through your mouth. I'm just starting to wake up the body by taking some deeper breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, and maybe just moving your body a little bit from side to side, stretching your neck, wriggling your fingers and toes, and bringing your hands together in front of your heart space and bowing your head to your heart. And then just rubbing your hands together to create some heat. And then just placing them over your eyes and feeling the warmth of your hands on your third eye. And just taking a moment of stillness here, in the space in between, remembering your intention. Remembering everything that you came here to be. Andaringaranituya, andaranikitarama. And the fairies will never let me live this down. They said that to ground in and accelerate this, to send them some little gifts next time you're out in a forest or by some trees. They like little gifts to help with your wishes. And they and when you're ready, just gently removing your hands and opening your eyes and coming back into space.
Mm-hmm. Ah, thank you, thank you, thank you. Mm.
So the golden technique that I led us through, I do this multiple times a day to just really like connect both ways, you know, through source and with Gaia and with our hearts, and opening and expanding ourselves out. And even, you don't even need to do that, like to simplify it even more, just like when you're breathing and you're feeling contracted, just like imagine you're just blowing yourself up like a balloon. You know, when you're a kid and you always wanted to blow up the balloons until they pop. And I never understood that because then you couldn't play with them. But like, that's what it's like puff yourself out, get big. So how is everyone feeling in the chat room? We did a very powerful little tune up there. There was lots of different frequencies coming through. So make sure you're drinking plenty of water right now. And let's keep rolling. If you're ready, Solara, to go straight into another technique, that would be great.
Yes, glorious, glorious, glorious. And I love how we're going to fuse the multidimensional intergalactic DNA frequency attunements with the very practical and profound God-embodied neuroscience. So I want to speak into, oh, okay, it's okay. I was reading, Chris, I love you. It's coming to you through the field. So I want to speak into the power that we have as creators and the power of not only our brain and our heart intelligence, but our expanded mind. So our mind includes our brain, our physical body, all of our cosmic chemical bodies, our astral, all of our auric fields, all of this. Our mind is the totality of who we be, is an intelligence. And our unique auric field is what connects our electromagnetic field into the quantum electromagnetic field. And as we connect our auric field into the wider expanse of all that we are, we synchronize with divine mind. So if you can imagine it like networks. So the neural networks that we have in our brain are clearly mirrored all throughout the cosmos, throughout our Milky Way galaxy. And we can see the mirror from the micro to the macro and how the self is expanding and duplicating and mirroring itself, and that we are indeed a phenomenal intelligence living inside of an even greater, more expanded intelligence that is us, that is the self in a space of self-creation. And so what we're desiring to do is to open and expand our own mind, our own intelligence into quantum mind, into divine mind that is fully united in its intelligence. There is no duality. So even in the context of our human brain, we have a right hemisphere and a left hemisphere. And in that, unto itself, in the brain stem is what connects them at the bottom. And that is where our fight or flight mechanism is most activated. So even in the distinct brain hemispheres, we see a duality that we have created, and what we're stepping into now as a humanity. And this is a mass evolution of our species into the new divine human avatar. And what we are starting to see is the left and the right hemispheres of the brain starting to fuse and fire and weave together. So what we are doing is we are upgrading, we are optimizing and transcending in many ways the fight or flight mechanism. And when we know that we are safe, that we are source, that we are home in this physicalized incarnation and embodiment, it allows for a greater harmony and a greater synergy to start taking place. And this is where flow resides. It's that pure stream that happens in the androgynous state when both hemispheres of the brain are acting in total synchronization with one another. And this is some technology that I'm excited to bring forth in the mastermind container too, because it's a fusion of very shamanic, earthy, primal drum tones that allow us to connect into our root, and then also some beautiful didgeridoo frequencies that allow us to open and expand into the third eye, our vision of who and what we be, and to be able to see into the holographic multidimensional reality, so we can see who and what we truly are and what our capacities to create in that field are. And then also some very ethereal celestial tones, but what it is a very advanced brainwave technology that allows you to drop into deep altered states of meditation within several minutes, more so than people who have been practicing meditation at depth for over a decade. So it's profoundly supportive and advanced technology that will support you with actually entering into that space more rapidly so that you can access that coherence and ultimately then flow, because flow is what happens in between the brain. And when I was receiving the downloads for this, they were showing me myself, my source self was showing me a golden omni mind. And so what is happening now, and if we look at the stages of evolution of the brain, it always grows, it always expands. And this is why it's also very important for us to honor and nourish our physical vessels and to trust precisely exactly what they are calling forth from us on a moment-to-moment basis, because we're going through profound internal expansions of our DNA, of our operating system, of our brain, our mind, our heart. All of these systems are updating, and so we must nourish them. And really, we're, for the first time as a humanity, stepping into a space where, you know, entering into timelessness, which is also youthfulness, which is super longevity. We're going to see age span increase exponentially in this lifetime, and we're going to be accessing a lot more of the gifts that we were accessing in connection to Sirius and Orion and the Pleiadians and Arcturians when we were in ancient Egypt, utilizing our telepathic psychic technologies. And that all comes when we're accessing, oh, awesome. when we're accessing those pure flow states, because we're aligned to divine intelligence, which knows itself only as love. Everything that is crystallized in our reality is an expression of light. It is an expression of love, of the one consciousness, of prosperity, of abundance, of perfection, of beauty. It's all made out of source. And so, you know, we can do this dance in our own consciousness when we perceive or interpret that anything else is actually going on. So this even allows us to release from all distortion, all illusion, that there is anything external to us that can harm us, that can hurt us, that can take our power away, that can have a negative impact on our experience. When we know who we are, we no longer allow that in our experience. And this is the space that we really want to support you with coming into, because it's ultimate emancipation, freedom of your will, absolute synchrony with who and what you are as a divine being in your pure power. Because then you walk around liberated inside of your creation, and you can utilize the psychic capacities, the sophisticated intertechnologies that start to open up and become accessible to us when we are in these flow states. And so the more that we duplicate and experience viscerally in our embodiment flow, and the more that we bring that online in our biocircuitry and have that experience, the more that we open up to these powers and these creative capacities, and we start to anchor in a new frequency. We start to transcend fight or flight. And one of the gorgeous visions, and we'll hop into the EFT, I promise we'll get there. And it's very simple and potent and profound. You know, it's imagining, and this is what masters were mastering when they would go up to the caves, or when they would go on into these. I know personally, I have selected some ferocious, fiery hot initiations in this experience, knowing what I was stepping into. By all rationality, it was not the thing to do, but my soul said, you must go into this, because there is a depth of mastery that your soul is seeking to experience that will get unlocked in this space. And so I just kept saying yes, and I kept stepping into those fires. And what did it do? It burned up all that was not me, and it allowed more of who I truly am as that light, as that united intelligence, to emerge. But what I essentially had to do, and I'm going to communicate this in more metaphysical terms, and then give a recollection of an incarnation that I had as the Buddha. And we have all been all things, so we all have access to these memories in our DNA coding. And so it was, you know, sitting in the middle of a forest or a jungle, and being surrounded by wild, potentially dangerous animals that could eat me, that could eat me alive if I was in a space of fear. And so this is the power. If I were in a space of anxiety and fear, or if I were outside of my body, if my consciousness wasn't fully landed in deep peace, in deep harmony, I would construct the reality where I was feeling those frequencies. Those animals would feel, those animals that were surrounding me in the middle of the forest would feel that fear. They would feel those frequencies. And what would they do? They would respond to that fear. And I would create the reality that I was afraid of creating. And so sitting in the middle of deeply challenging, potentially volatile scenarios, and this is so applicable to all of us right now, especially in the realm of relationship and a lot of the narratives that are unfolding globally. We're in these positionalities, and there's, you know, it's in some cases a desire to escape, to separate from the self, to remove, to create resistance, to push away from, but the power is to merge with the God self in all that is. So if we can sit in the middle of those wild animals with deep peace and harmony, to know that those animals are majestic, powerful, divine creatures that are emanations of source energy and intelligence. And we can come from a space of honor and reverence and respect, in mutuality, knowing that we are one and the same, that there is nothing to fear, that we can allow them in, that we can get curious and explore their nature and get to know them and be fascinated and even open to the messages and the wisdom that they have for us. And we're landed in that space of knowing them as divine, as emanations of our own divine essence. And we commune with them in love. It changes what could have potentially been a very challenging situation into a very benevolent, wondrous, mystical, divinely enriching, expansionary experience. And this is the power that we have to choose our state, our frequency, our gnosis of what we're engaging with in all moments, which is our own self, our own God self. When we come from that space, it can create phenomenal, and this is the real, like, phenomenology, phenomenal, what we would perceive as mystical or otherworldly shifts and changes in our physical reality immediately. And we can do this in any situation that we are in when we are coming from that depth of harmony and knowingness and open expansion into the source self. And this is a lot of what we start to experience when our brain hemispheres are synchronized and aligned. It is ultimate unification with the self and coming from that space. And this is what we're all stepping into. So with the EFT, and this is the power of this also, we are the only one in our reality. There is no other. There is no separate them. All that is a literal holographic extension of our internal coding. We are receiving precise mirror feedback and reflections of our own deep narratives. So our subconscious mind, our conscious mind, and ultimately what we're aiming for here to inhabit the field of miracles as our organic way of being is our superconscious mind. And so we're always engaging with the sacred symbology of our own mind. So if we can utilize the mirror as a tool, as a teacher, as something to self-reflect from a space of deep self-compassion and love and empathy and neutrality and true curiosity, to go, what do I believe? What patterns am I running? What narratives do I have going? What have I supercharged and fueled and given life to within the context of my own consciousness? And how can I align that to the highest dimensional reality timelines that are possible for me and accessible to me, and start to code myself in alignment with my true divine nature, and to start engaging the mirror as myself. You know, that's why Yeshua said, treat others as you would like to be treated, because others are you, literally. And so, you know, there's all these different ways that we can engage with this multidimensional reality. In unique ways for us to play with this in our physical reality, but our true power is to create change internally, inside of our own beingness, because that's what changes this out here. We wouldn't, you know, if you look in the mirror and you see a smile because you're smiling, you're the one who created that smile, that reflection in the mirror. So we never have to change anything out here. The power to create phenomenal shifts and upgrades and optimizations and all of this resides solely, fully, wholly, and completely within our own vessel. So, to the EFT. Did you want to share something first, or do you want to go into the... Okay, awesome, thank you. So EFT, for those of you who are not familiar with this practice, so this is the power of this practice. It allows us to rapidly rewire our subconscious mind, stimulate neurogenesis, and to create new neural pathways in the brain. So our our awareness, we'll call it awareness, because thoughts, I mean, it's where we focus the spotlight of our attention most frequently. So wherever we are accustomed to placing our awareness, like Zoe had mentioned earlier, you know, looking at what is the worst possible outcome or what is the best possible outcome that could unfold, we're training our mind to look through a new lens, through the divine lens, through what is possible, what is pure, what is real, true, beautiful, accessible to us. And so we're creating new grooves in the mind. And when we tap on the Meridian Points with EFT, it allows for a greater flow of energy through those neural pathways, and it allows us to exponentialize the process of creating new grooves, new habits, new ways of focusing our awareness. And in my unique experience, this has been one of the most powerful practices, and I've got a whole treasure chest of wonders that I've collected through over a decade of doing this work. And this one has created the most quantitative, high quality manifestations in my life, in shifts in how I perceive myself, how I perceive my world, and therefore my experience of life. And it's very simple and it's very potent. And, you know, when I was first introduced actually to EFT about a decade ago, it didn't make sense to me why we were going through the releasing of all the things, because I recognized that the brain, the mind, is unconditional, it has no filter, and it takes everything that we say and absorbs it as absolute truth. So again, with the mirror example, if I look in the mirror and I smile, I get a smile back. If I look in the mirror and I frown, I get a frown back. It's very unconditional and neutral and precising. And so I thought, well, what if I'm coding in to my brain that I need to release all these things that I don't actually need to release because my source self is whole? And so there's really nothing there for me to let go of except for the perception that I need to do something to become perfect, whole, and complete. So accepting my divinity and starting to, the guidance was to start powerfully architecting in the narrative of what I wanted to have come forth and crystallize in my reality. And things got quite fantastical when I started practicing this. And so for those of you who aren't familiar with the Meridian Points, I'm just going to go through them very quickly. So right here at the crown of the head, just tapping lightly on the crown. And you want to come to the inside of the eyebrows, tapping around to your temples, beneath the eyes, right above the lip, below the chin, right here at your neckline. And then I sometimes often tap on my heart as well to open up the heart space. And then right here, just under the arm, on both sides. And this will also start to harmonize your left and right hemispheres quite rapidly. And then right here on the wrist, on the top of the thumb, and then the top of the index, and so on through all of the fingers. And you can go through this process of tapping through those spots as many times as you would like. But the real power and authority that we have to radically reorient our reality and to reorient our mind, our programming, our narratives is the spotlight of our vision, our attention, our awareness. We call this thoughts. I think it's a much more, it's a greater consciousness than that to me. It's consciousness, it's awareness, it's what we are choosing to vision into and therefore feel into. And so when our vision is fused with the power and the emotion of our words, of what we're speaking, of what we're feeling, it creates an extraordinary power that allows for these desires to crystallize, physicalize much more rapidly in our reality, because all that is physical is simply energy that has been focused into form. So when we give it our full-hearted devotion, really, when we're architecting these new stories, and that's what it is, making love to our narrative, it really hyper accelerates the process. So What I love to do is, one, put everything in the present tense. This is so important because this is the only moment that exists, and all potentials, all timelines, all realities, all possibilities exist right here in this now. So even if you put it out to tomorrow afternoon or next week, I'm so thankful that this is manifesting next week. Well, it's just going to keep the manifestation manifesting next week and next week and next week. So you always want to say, now. Now is where all of the power is. And, you know, one of the things that I love to do is I am and I have statements, because who I be is the reality that I live. Yes, you are, my beloved. Yes. And so who we are, who we choose to be in here is what the reality we experience is. So I am and I have statements are extraordinarily powerful. And so what I love to do is just gain crystal clarity on who I want to be, what I want to embody, what I desire to feel in my system, what I'm opening to, what I'm crystallizing in my life experience. And I start to affirm, I am so thankful and grateful that I am love, that I am beauty, that I am radiance, that I am joy, that I am resonating the rich accord of divine love and harmony throughout every cell in my body, my being, my vessel. I am so thankful and grateful now that I have infinite abundance, prosperity, wealth, joy, pleasure flowing into me from all portals and pathways and directions of my energy, consciousness, and creation. I allow myself to rapturously receive all that is in absolute accord with my truest heart, soul desires. I welcome love. And even I am that I am that I am, the infinite source, divine creator goddess of my reality. All of my relationships are flourishing, expansive, inspiring, uplifting, elevating, honoring, joyous, empowering. I am fully expressed in my divine light. I have enormous fun sharing my gifts and my soul essence and my artistry and my soul song with the world. I love to creatively express myself through writing, through poetry, through song, through dance. And you can just get a gist for this. These are some of the things that we can start to architect into our being. But the glory of this practice, well, and it's really about you feeling what is most true to you and your most authentic, genuine heart and core. What are you open to? What are you welcoming? Who are you? I am that I am that I am. What do you have that you have potentially separated yourself from? Is something outside that you have to get, but that you can now start to powerfully anchor the frequency of havingness into your being. One of the ones that I love to do, and this is how I go grand. This is how I go grand, and it's manifesting quite rapidly in my life because I started doing it. We sometimes we go to where like our mind thinks it's okay to ask, like, maybe it's okay, and we're going to play with money for a minute. Maybe I could ask for like 10 grand. You know, that's a stretch. Maybe I can ask for that. Or maybe I can ask for 15, or maybe I can ask for 20. One of the frames that I love to give for this, I'm like, what if God, what if Source was standing right in front of you, almighty, powerful, omnipotent presence of the universe, saying, I am here to grant your heart's most authentic desire. What do you want? And we get to see where we have limited ourselves. And we get to ask ourselves from the most authentic space, what do I actually want? And will I allow myself to reach for the stars? While I allow myself to go grand while I'm here in this incarnation as divine source, here to experience the beauty and the novelty of life and aliveness and what it is to be in love and to have novel experiences in this earth plane. Why limit myself? What do I actually want? And the bigger we go, the more grand we go, the more we hyper accelerate, we exponentialize, it's quantum. So we shorten the gap or the steps between getting from A to Z because the universe is exponential. And so when we go here, all the miracles and the synchronicities that grace our path along the way get significantly bigger and more astounding, and give us those, I call it, those wow moments where we're just like blown away in wonder and awe at what we have created and allowed ourselves to experience. And so everything gets augmented in that space, and you are going to receive what you are asking for, even if it takes a few progressions to anchor in the solidity of those bigger manifestations. If you ask for 10,000, you might get 1,000. If you ask for 10 million, you might get 10,000, is what I'm trying to say here. So if we allow ourselves to really feel into what we desire, and this is one of the ways that I manifest extraordinary wealth in my life, is that I do this. I am so thankful and grateful now that I have tens of hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars flooding into my bank account for me to savor, enjoy, to bless and enrich life, the economy, and Mother Gaia, and my friends and my family and my beloveds, and allow it to circulate back into me 20-fold, 20-fold. And it's just all abundance all around for everyone, because that is what's accessible to us. Money is infinite, energy is infinite, we are limitless beings. So to allow ourselves to go big, go grand, and start programming ourselves for what it is that we authentically desire to be experiencing, and letting the grid fill itself in a more wondrous, marvelous way than we potentially have been, if we've been constructing our desires from a space of limitation or lack in any way. And to know that you, as the creator of your reality, can absolutely have it all. And so really checking in with yourself, you don't have to compromise. Well, if I ask for this, or if I create this, then I can't do this too. You absolutely can have it all. This is all that we are creating is love in its many expressions, and you're here to live in the full celebration of all of it. Money is source energy, relationships are source energy, it's all source energy. So allowing yourself to experience the fullness and the richness and the depth and the expanse of all forms of love that are available to you, and utilizing this powerful technology, this way of directly programming yourself to create phenomenal shifts in your reality. And what I recommend with this practice is 10 minutes a day. Keep it simple, but go full on. Say out loud what you are coding in. Tap on the Meridian Points. I am, I have, I'm so thankful and grateful, and really bring the passion and the fire and the love of your heart into what you are speaking into being, what you are visioning as you are, tapping that in. And this directly reprograms the subconscious mind. Directly, it goes straight to the core of reprogramming the subconscious mind. So what could have taken you 10 years of deep internal work to do can now unfold itself in 30 days. I've had people manifest profound results that by all third dimensional, all logic and all of that should not have been, quote, possible for them to crystallize, but they did, because they allowed themselves to architect those narratives, and they claimed their knowing that that's what they were creating for themselves, and they were unwavering in that knowing. I am, and I have. It is so. No wobble there. And so I invite you to integrate this practice for the next 30 days. So we're at January 25th up to February 25th, and hopefully beyond, because you're going to want to create new things in your embodiment and in your experience. If you can devote to this for 30 days, 10 minutes every single day, I promise you will experience phenomenal shifts in your reality. And so I really encourage you. There's nothing to lose. 10 minutes. Go all in on this practice.
Thank you so much. Wow, I feel so full of excitement. I'm like, want to get going. And thank you so much for that. And we've had some great comments and feedback coming in. And, this is these techniques, you know, that we're sharing with you, and this information we're sharing, it's not rocket science, it's quantum physics. You know, it's really just like cracking the code beyond what the mind would have you think or you have to do. And, you know, this is all part of what we're going to be diving into deeper in the container that we're opening up with the Flow Optimized Mastermind. And if you haven't read anything about it yet, I'll link the details into the chat, and then also for those on the replay, I'll put this in the email for you. I'm a fan of containers, and I've been working with specific intentional containers for the last 5 years in my reality. And to me, a container is setting an intentional amount of time, and Solara she just flowed with it very naturally. Oh, I've got a really weird deja vu moment. Oh my gosh, I dreamt this. That's so strange. We've already had this conversation. You know, of just like saying, like, you know, go all in for the next 30 days. We're opening up an intentional container to go all in for the next 3 months. That is going to be diving in so deep into some incredibly transformative teachings and techniques and activations and masterminding to up-level our realities into all that we may feel we wish we'd done this last year, or if there's things that it's like, you know, you're ready and you want a place of deep nourishment and emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual support, then that's what we are hosting and holding the space for in the mastermind. And whenever I've opened and closed intentional containers, which is a length of time that we're focusing on said intention, it's created rapid shifts in my life, and particularly when done in a mastermind setting, because there is accountability, there is being in integrity with what we said we were going to do within a certain time frame, but also bending time to experience the lusciousness, as Solara was sharing, of, you know, the I ams and the I haves, and getting ridiculous in your reality. And you know, when we get so ridiculous in our reality, we don't have an expectation that it will manifest and unfold for us. So 9 times out of 10, it actually goes beyond that. It actually becomes even more ridiculous. Solara, have you share a bit about the mastermind as well? But the setup of it is that we're going to be working in this container for 3 months, and we're going to be meeting weekly. And so we have weekly mastermind calls, and then the odd week we have mastermind every other calls, and then I can't speak. Just speak my language. Mastermind calls. 6 mastermind calls and 6 activation calls. Thank you. And the mastermind calls is we're going to be diving deep into these teachings and techniques so that we can be then working on them over that 2-week time period. And then we meet together for an activation to really start grounding in some of these bigger visions that we have. So if any of you are interested in this, then feel free to click the link and also reach out to us. We have enrollment open. This is a very, very, very small, intimate mastermind container that we're holding space for. It's designed like that on purpose because there is going to be maximum support with all of us. And you also have a one-on-one private session with myself and Solara as well as part of that. So Solara, if you have anything else to add, that would be great. I might start speaking light language again.
That's great. Just keep raining it. Yeah, I mean, I think you just did an exquisite job of sharing what we're going to be experiencing, and just to be very forthright. It's going to be an extraordinarily potent, mystical container, and I intend to powerfully reorient the field for all of us to exponentialize the crystallization of our desires in this space, the power that we all have when we come together in the fullness of our sacred divine power, authority, archetypes, reverence, love, and what we can just conjure and create in harmony with life, in harmony with nature, in harmony with the elements is profound. And I just keep hearing, whoever chooses to step into this container with us, and this is true for me and Zoe, our lives in the most positive, beautiful way are going to be unrecognizable from what they are right now. And that is the power that we are bringing forth in this experience. We're talking interdimensional, quantum, timeline, reality shifts. This is a powerful space. It's magical. It's enchanting. It is pure. It is playful. And we get to be in this as one united family and have fun and really harness these very simple yet powerful and effective tools that allow us to create in all new expanded ways. And what we are going to do for each other and accelerating our growth, our expansion, our own frequency. It's like we're all, each of us, myself and Zoe included, are at these spaces in our own journey, our own expansion. And when we get into that field together, we are just going to accelerate everyone's growth. And the most important piece of that is these parts that we've been integrating in our sensory bodies on our own, in our own spaces. And we've been doing great at us being in that space together. We're going to crystallize and land that for one another by virtue of being present in such a strong field of divine energy and intelligence together. So I see us like stepping into that space, and we've been doing our own work. And when we step out of it, it's like we're solidified to soar at a whole new level. Roots to the galactic fruit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And really a lot of emphasis as well and support with how to, clear the vessel, clear the body out to be able to hold a higher version of the self, to embody a higher frequency. And I want to share actually, because Marina had said, didn't this start on January the 11th? And I said, well, actually, what we teach is flow. And as much as we had set a date when it was coming up to it, there was still so much still moving through the collective consciousness that it wasn't, that it's like the energies hadn't gone direct yet. It wasn't quite, it was still kind of swirling around. And so the new date that we picked in February felt more expanded and more aligned. And, sometimes we create so much kind of structure and planning, but actually really listening and paying attention to when things shift and flowing with that. So that's why we shifted the day, because I thought that was a great question. Like, didn't this already start? It's like, well, no, it was meant to, but it's all part of shifting into the perfect moments. And, sometimes we get downloads of when things should be put into place, but sometimes something shifts. There's a timeline jump, or we have to pivot around that. So, and Teresa's joining us. Yes.
So excited. This is also just the power of like staying attuned to your own essence and your own rhythm, feeling yourself, like what feels expansive, what feels contracted, and trusting that, following that flow. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, this has been amazing. I've really enjoyed this. And Solara hadn't actually taught me that EFT technique, so she's been holding out on me, and I'm going to be doing that now every day. It's really powerful.
Yes, it's super powerful.
I could feel it. And again, of just really expanding the energy field and bringing in that gold plasma liquid energy, and just, and you don't even feel anything or see it, they just make it up. Use your imagination. That's how we created the universe. That's how we created the holographic experience. And do you have something to say? Oh.
I actually have something to show you. This is so great that this is. Can you read that?
It was a dream. I love that.
It was all a dream.
Yes.
So you might as well dream up something extraordinarily luscious and fulfilling.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for signed up to this. We had an extraordinary amount, like nearly 300 people signed up for this event. And for those of you that joined live, thank you so much. For those of you that are catching the replay, hello, future self, how are you? Sending you so many blessings. And I feel we're going to wrap things up now and close this container for today. And we do have enrollment open this week for the mastermind. So feel free to reach out to us. I'll link the details again in an email when we send the replay out to you. And, you know, if you feel something in your heart and you, as we said, you're like, oh my gosh, like I feel like this would be perfect for me, then trust that, you know, take that step forward and find that path that opens up for you into all that is wanting to unfold for you. You know, it's like not as extreme as spending the last 300 pounds on a flight, but I've had many experiences in the past like that, you know, we have to take those steps. We have to take that step forward first to know that the universe can catch us. So if the mastermind is something that you're like, wow, you know, I've been hearing about it and on the fence and I'm not sure, then ask us questions. Let us hold space for you. And this is going to be a really, really important time as well to be coming together in an intimate setting. And, you know, we really are going to be diving deep into some incredible tools and teachings that have helped myself and Solara over the last, you know, combined kind of 20 years of education, personal development, science, quantum physics, spiritual awakening, DNA activations, to create very successful organic businesses with no Facebook ads and no marketing strategy, all flow, all energy, all magnetism, all bringing it to us, all opportunities opening up. And it's as instant as, you know, I said yes to a retreat the other day and the money came in to pay for it within 2 hours. 2 hours, the exact money that I had just spent out. And that is flow. And that's what we really want to get everyone in alignment with. And so I'm really pleased that, you know, you all that joined us for this experience can now use these tools in your everyday life. And I'm looking forward to those of you that are a full body resonant and yes, that are going to join us in the intimate mastermind. So many blessings, everyone. And Solara, if you have anything to share.
Oh, just thank you so much. I love you. I appreciate you and your gifts, and celebrating you and celebrating every single beautiful sacred soul who chose to spend this time with us this evening and share energy and presence with us. Such a gift. What a magnificent way to spend a Monday evening. Thank you all so much. Received so much.
Yeah, many blessings. So we'll just close out this container by closing our eyes and just taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just sending love, blessings, thanks, gratitude to everyone that was part of this beautiful circle, past, present, and future selves. Thank you very much. And may we feel the abundance and prosperity that is to unfold from the shifting of frequency that everything that came through in this container today. Aho, blessings. Nandarinke tandaranishuyama, andaranekita masuyamanda, andarinituma, andaranetopoya, sandaringamasa, sho. Many blessings, everyone. Many, many, many blessings. So much love to you all. And take care. See you all soon. Bye.
Joe, love you so much.